What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take. Matt O'Connor joined alongside Andrew Huber. Andrew, really exciting time of the sports calendar right now. So much happening, as I just said a couple days ago with another co-host. But before we get into anything, got to lead off. How you doing, man?
Doing great, all is well. Yankees are getting hot towards the end of April. NBA playoffs on, NHL playoffs.
Yeah,
Lot of
NHL
sports.
playoffs too. Forgot,
Yeah.
dude. I'm really tuned into this Buffalo versus Bruins series right now. Did you see that last night?
Yeah.
Pasternak.
Those games have been great. I watch anything. I'll watch NHL playoffs, I'll watch NBA. Whatever's on, it interests me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the life of a sports nut. But last
Yeah.
night, dude, how about last night? Let's get into a little bit. 126-97. Knicks get the dub. They put their foot down on the Hawks, and they did not play with their food. Start to finish. They did not just win this game. Any playoff win, we are satisfied with as Knicks fans. Our expectations have been raised from prior years, and we'll take any win that we can get. But there is a legitimate possibility last night, Andrew. Now we've seen 82 regular season games, 5 postseason games, that this was the best performance that the Knicks had all year. And it came at the most opportune time. Game 5, the pivotal game 5, all the momentum now swings back in the Knicks' favor. They go ahead 3-2, and they have just been blowing this Hawks team out, not only over the course of the entire 4 quarters last game, where I believe that from a minute and like 35 seconds into the game, all the way until the end of the game, they held the lead and did not relinquish it. But it's really been from the start of the comeback in game 4 when we had the NFL draft going on and all that craziness, and game 5, and the Knicks have outscored Atlanta by 52 points. We gotta ignore. We're gonna go player by player here. We're gonna break down everything, but like, I just gotta ask you first and foremost, like, how impressed, happy, exuberant have you been with the turnaround after losing back-to-back games by a combined total score of 2 points? The response has been anything you could have hoped for.
Watching this series, it's been interesting because game one, they looked really good. The Hawks, I mean, when you were looking at the series from game one, you'd be like, yeah, like the Knicks are way better team. And I still think even after games 2 and 3, the Knicks were still the better team in this series. I mean, just look at the ways they lost those games. It was off poor shooting, a lot of turnovers, just sloppy basketball in the last 2 minutes of the game where they were in the game the whole time. Game three, they went down 18 at a time, but they got it to like 8 at half. They came back in the second half, and then Brunson turned over the ball late in the game, and they lost. So when you look at it from there they were one possession away from winning those games. And then when you're down 2-1 in the Brunson era, the Knicks have never been down 2-1 in round one. And game four, they came out with different energy. They took that one and they said, "Nope, we're gonna go back to MSG and we're gonna take another one by more." So I love the way they responded. That's one thing that I've been concerned with Mike Brown, how this team responds after bad losses. But I mean, at the biggest moment, they shined. I mean, they turned it around. Now they're up 3-2 in a big spot.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about Brunson. He was unbelievable last night. He actually, let's be honest, to this point of the series, he was kind of struggling. He was shooting like 40% from the field, still came into last night averaging around 25 points a game, but just was not himself, was not getting to the paint at will, and not putting up the same percentage from inside that he usually does. He was shooting 42% from the paint. Yesterday, he was on a different level. 39 points, 17 of which came in the fourth quarter. Super, super efficient. 15 of 23 from the field. So outstanding performance from him. But I want to talk about Cat because let's be real. What we have seen from the Knicks over the last 120 minutes, the last 2 games, is Mike Brown making a major coaching adjustment to pretty much funnel this entire offense through the big man down low, Carl Anthony Towns. His distribution has been phenomenal to watch. I mean, really. I think he called it in the post game a hockey pass. I've seen writers call it the high water polo pass. But you get him in the high post, the way that he is finding cutters on the baseline, the way that guys are slipping and moving and him getting hitting them down low. It's really a work of art. And he talked about it in his post game presser. He's always seen himself as a distributor, but for whatever reason, it really hasn't showed up big time this year until these last couple of games. Mike Brown has talked about just wanting to be so multiple with them and use them in a variety of ways, and it's finally coming. He's the hub. He's been the initiator. I think the final line yesterday for him, he had the triple double in game four, and then he finished this game with 16 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. 6 assists is really that's the key for me. Nick's defensive rebounding was awesome yesterday too, but like Cat's the most frustrating player on this team. Am I right or am I right? Like what a breath of fresh air. And you have been really critical of Mike Brown all year long. Like how do you feel about the way that he's utilized Cat being the focal point? It's been prominent and it's really worked.
Yeah, this year, I mean, Cat's we've talked about it a couple times this year where Cat, he's having a down year statistically, 20 points per game this year. And he's coming off a 25 point per game under Tom Thibodeau last year. So we were questioning how Brown was going to get him in the offense. I mean, even before the season, I think I told you this. And when you had Jack Calucci on, we were talking about how Cat didn't even know how he was going to fit in this offense. He said it himself. So the fact that, I mean, it shouldn't have taken that long to get him involved because we know Cat. He's a star in the league. You know, he's the best shooting big man in the league. Yeah, I mean, who's better than him at shooting? I mean, he shoots at a 40% clip, which is unreal for a 7-footer. So I mean, you got to find ways to get that guy in the offense. He's a great player. So I love that they're running it through him because I said this to my friends at school before the series that if the Knicks want to win the series, Brunson's going to do his thing. He always does. But the offense needs to run through Cat because the tallest player in the Hawks is 6'9". Nobody can stop him on the Hawks if he's at his best. And as we've seen, he's played good in every game in this series, and he's just only gotten better.
That's a good point with the Hawks, especially right now. Like with the Hawks not having a player above 6'9". One of the most frustrating aspects of the Karl Anthony Towns Knicks this year is that a lot of teams have successfully thrown their wings, their smaller players, their guys who aren't as big as Cat on Cat, and it's worked. He's bottled them up. He's afraid to take them to the rack, to be physical, to
Mhm.
get in the low post, and it's uber frustrating. But in this series, we've seen him on limited shot attempts too. It's not like Cat's putting up 20 shot attempts per game. The shot attempts aren't that high. I think he had 13 in game four when he played phenomenal and had that triple double. But he's now getting the ball on the smaller guys and taking it to them. The Hawks, they don't have an answer for him. They don't have a center. They don't have a true center. Okongwu, I assume he's the 6'9" player that you're referring to. And yesterday they started the game, I believe, with Dyson Daniels on him, and it did not work. I think Cat, he was great altogether yesterday, but 12 of his 14 came in the first half. And particularly, he went on like a 6-point run in the first quarter with Daniels on him, and he just took him. He took him, and he got down low. He drew contact, and that's what we've been waiting on all year long. The amount of teams that were like, why waste our biggest player on Karl Anthony Towns when we could just throw an effective wing on him and then throw our big either at OG or Hart, or they could space out on different guys. Let's just throw a wing on Cat. No, this game, Cat showed that if you're going to put the smaller guy on him, he will make you pay. That's what he did. And I think game four, too, he was only the fourth Nick of all time to record a triple double.
Yeah, he was.
Trivia for you. Who do you know the others?
I think one was Josh Hart.
Yes.
Was one Ewing? No?
No. I'll get you.
Was it?
Won't get the another one was Reed McGuire. I
Yeah.
don't think I wouldn't have got that unless
Yeah,
I
I
read
probably
it.
wouldn't either.
And then the other guy, I'll give you a hint. is familiar in Knicks circles nowadays. Well retired, but everybody knows him. Ewing's a good guess.
I feel like I saw this the other day too. I know who it is. It's just who is it?
He wears funky outfits.
Oh, Clyde.
Yeah, it's Clyde.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it
Yeah.
makes sense. NBA champion. There's not a lot with the Knicks,
But
but
yeah, that
he's
is
one
great
of them.
company, you know.
Yeah. So great game. Great. He's the first player that I had to shout, even though he wasn't the most impressive yesterday, because in both of these games, he's been the hub. That's
I mean,
really
can we even talk about his defense too? I mean, I've
yeah.
seen improvements in this series from Cat's defense. Yesterday, he had 2 blocks and 2 steals, and I saw him dive on the floor for a loose ball. I haven't seen Cat do that ever as a Knick. I don't know if you caught that yesterday.
Yeah.
Cat was on the floor diving for a loose ball.
Yeah, he was he was omnipresent, and that was the whole Knicks team, both ends of the floor. They brought it, and you're right. I mean, he was like, I think, yeah, you're right. He had 2 blocks, I believe,
Yeah, 2
and
blocks, 2 steals. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah, it was a sight to see, dude. And he just you could see the tenacity on his face too. Like early on, he got that and one off Daniels. I saw the camera zoomed in on him, staring him down. I mean, you could see it. And the way that he's talking in these post-game press conferences, he's oozing out with confidence right now. So that needs to
Right.
keep going. And I mentioned Brunson, like yesterday was just a work of art as far as watching him score. It felt like a matter of time, Andrew, that he gets it going. He always does in his 3 years as a Nick in a postseason series. He's eventually going to get the offense rolling. And yesterday, even in the second half, when Towns wasn't as focal as he was in the first as far as running the offense, there was a little bit more Brunson ball there, but he was just so hot that he had every right to shoot the ball.
Yeah, so I agree. In games 1 and 2, he played okay. I mean, he still had like 20, I think he had 25, 28 points in those games. But I mean, he wasn't shooting well from the I mean, as good as he is from the field. I mean, I think he was shooting 42% in those games, and then I think in game 3, he didn't really have a good I don't remember which game it was, but one of the games he shot like 35%. And then, you know, in game 5, he comes through and shoots 65% from the field. So, it was only a matter of time. We know who Brunson is. They call him Captain Clutch for a reason. I mean, and in the biggest game, they say big game 5 is the biggest game of every series, and honestly, statistically, it is. So for him to come through in a game 5 like that and drop 40, that's sick. It's awesome.
Yeah, and, defensively, you touched on Cat, how great he was, but
Oof.
all of the Knicks were great. Atlanta
Brunson though,
only had 4 fast break, but, like, what do we read about Atlanta and hear about coming into this series was like, "Oh, transition, they're gonna get
they want to
after
they
you."
want to play really fast. That's how they're gonna beat the Knicks. That's how they're gonna beat any team. When they play fast, that's how they win. And the Knicks have low key like they've taken that away from them in the last 2 games.
4 fast break points, and I think last game, the game before, they were right around that range too. Maybe they had none actually, which is remarkable for, a young up and coming team that wants to push the pace on you. Almost reminds me of Indiana the past couple of years, and they kinda dominated the Knicks in those playoff series. I know you remember it well,
For sure.
when they would run and gun, and they would get once Halliburton was in transition, it was over. The possession was over. He was going to find a way to score. So that's a little bit resembles the way Atlanta wants to play, but Knicks have stifled them. Another guy who has been a big part of that is our Energizer Bunny, is the other half of the roommate show with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. And I really thought that he's been great defensively this whole series, but particularly in game 4, Andrew, he really stepped up his game. He's pretty much locked down Jalen Johnson this entire series. Anytime Jalen Johnson's one-on-one with him and wants to go to the hoop, he makes that quick first step. Josh Hart is right there to match him on that first step, so he doesn't need any help side on the weak or strong side. So it's been awesome to watch. And then the transition D. As soon as Atlanta wants to get out and do something, he's right there. He's like that hockey player on an odd man rush that brings in his stick to break it up. Like he's been awesome both ends of the floor. He's putting together performances, 10, 11 points, 8 or 9 boards. He's been awesome this whole series, and, I'd like to know if you are right on there with me.
Yes, Josh Hart has done an excellent job defensively in the series. He was in a little bit of a shooting slump from 3, but listen, if he's playing defense, listen, he's not like Jalen Brunson offensive style player. We don't need that from him. If he's what's Josh Hart's game? He plays physical, he
Yeah,
plays tough,
energizer.
and he's an energizer, right? He doesn't need to score occasional buckets, and he's one of the best transition players in the league. You watch him run a fast break. I mean, he's awesome with that. So I've seen him do that. He did it a lot yesterday. And back to the point with Jalen Johnson, he stopped Jalen Johnson is not a great half court player. He runs through transition. That's their style. That's how he plays. So Josh Hart playing very physical with him, getting up in his grill, pressuring the ball, which was great. It's awesome. And another point I want to throw out there, we didn't really talk about it yet, but my X factor of the whole series, I mean, we haven't even mentioned him yet. OG Anunoby has probably been
Yeah,
the best player
OG.
for the Knicks in this series. I mean, his rebounding numbers, unbelievable. I think he's had
Yeah.
9, 10 rebounds in the past couple games. I know we didn't really get to him yet, but I mean, I had to throw him in there. I mean, he's he's been everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you
he
agree?
was great. He had both of these games. He's been great. He's been, as you mentioned, Josh Hart with the slow shooting starts. OG's been because of the effectiveness of running through chat and him making these passes. OG's found himself open in the corner, and he's been knocking down those threes. He's the best 3-point corner shooter by percentage, like in the NBA. He's right up there. I think the Knicks themselves are the best 3-point corner shooting team in basketball, and really led by him. And the rebounding, you're right. I know he's got back to back double doubles. I think game 4 he had 20 points, 10 boards. Ended up with, like, I believe 17 points and 10 rebounds, somewhere along those lines yesterday. So he's been great. Another two-way guy who has just made his presence known. I love OG. This is the OG that we traded for. This is the OG that showed up in the playoffs last year for the Knicks. So you want to continue to see him do what he's doing. It hurts the Knicks a lot when they're not getting production out of either Bridges or OG. I mean, they're not. It's people always talk about the Knicks and how far they can go, and if Karl Anthony Towns isn't fully unlocked, they're not real title contenders. Well, if you have a streaky Bridges and a streaky Anunoby, and they're both run dry at the same time, you're cooked. You need one of them to produce for you at a high level on both ends of the floor. And we all know how fucking bad Mikal Bridges has been this postseason. We could talk about him a little bit too. So OG stepped up, man. We need one of the two wings to bring something to the table, and it's all been number 8 so far. Bridges, let's just get it out of the way. Like, I guess Mike Brown, he shouted him out yesterday. He had a driving dunk. I guess he played a little bit better in game 4 where he scored 8 points, but midway through the third quarter, Mike Brown benched him the rest of the game, stuck Miles McBride out there. He's been so bad, so bad. Game 3, the game we lost by 1 in Atlanta on draft night, I believe he was a minus 26 with 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists, and more turnovers combined than all of those in games 2 and 3. Like, that's just jarring in of itself. And look, I guess there's only one way to go when you hit rock bottom. He's been a little bit better these past couple games, but dude, brutal series from Mikel.
I couldn't agree more. He's been very bad. And listen, I give Mike Brown, a lot of shit, as much like his coaching ability, but I can't deny he hasn't done a good job in the series. I mean, taking him off the floor when he hasn't played well, you got to do it. I mean, it's playoff basketball. You got to go to the hot hand, and I totally agree with him there. When he's not playing well, you got to take him off the floor. So I give Mike Brown a ton of credit there, and I also give Mike Brown a ton of credit for the defense in this series. I mean, he's done an incredible job. But back to Bridges here. Yeah, he has no confidence right now. That's probably his biggest problem. His
Right.
shooting is off. I mean, the thing about Bridges is he just doesn't play. He plays very soft, so he tries to avoid contact, and that's why he's the player he is. I mean, Macau is he's a great player, but he's got to use his body more. He's got to go to the paint. I mean, he's got you know it's one thing I hate that he does. You know those little like fadeaway shots he always takes. He never uses his body and goes up strong, to the basket. It's always if there's one guy in the paint, he'll always take that little fadeaway shot. You know what I'm talking about? He always does
Well,
that.
that brings me right back to game two, the last possession of game two, where the
Yes.
Knicks
Mhm.
collapsed. They had a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they let that sink away, and they lost by 1 point. It was the last possession that was the biggest backbreaker for the Knicks there, where CJ McCollum misses both free throws. Knicks are down one, so they have an opportunity with like about 5 seconds left on the clock to win the game. Josh Hart gets the rebound on the second of McCollum's missed free throws, immediately passes it right up to Bridges. Bridges one-on-one with Jalen Johnson. Like, he easily could have just went, he had the time to do it on the clock still. He could have went all the way down the rack and potentially hit an easy layup, as most NBA players would. But no, instead he opted for the signature Michael Bridges, little pump, one dribble KD midi. Like, I know that's your signature sauce. I know you love your mid-range shot, but you're one-on-one with momentum. Take it all the way, dude. And he ends up clanking it off the iron, and the Knicks
Who's to
lose
say you
the
don't
game.
get fouled too? Like you don't put those things into account. I mean, all I'm saying is I just need him to play more physical. Go to the basket. Use your. I mean, if you watch Mikal Bridges clips in college, you would be like, this guy played like this. Like, I know it's a different game, but like coming
Yeah.
out of college, he was dunking. Going to the rack. He's a tall guy. He should be using his body more. Like
I yeah, no, he should. He should. I mean, I understand he's lanky and skinny.
yeah,
He
he's
doesn't have
lengthy,
the
but there's a couple lengthy guys in the league that use their body. You just got to play a little more physical.
I mean, look at Shea. That guy gets to the line more than
Oh my,
anybody. He's
yeah. Look how
yeah,
physical he
so
plays. You know?
yeah, totally. Yeah, I forgot he went to Nova. You just mentioned Michael Bridges. Now I'm kind of curious. I
You
have to
gotta
watch
watch
it
him.
because I just haven't seen
You have to
it. Yeah.
see it, bro. You'd be like, wow, this I've never seen him play like this.
It's such a complicated story with him and everything that he's been through in his career up until this point. In Phoenix, he went to the finals that one year, and he was sort of like a third option over there. He was a defense first guy, distribute, set ball screens, hit open shots when you get them, but he was not the primary guy. Then he goes to Brooklyn, where he's obviously the number one option. They had literally nobody else on that roster viable of scoring or doing anything. And then his role and his tenure here with the Knicks has been very mixed and a little bit undefined. And I feel like he needs a little bit more of a defined role with this team. Now, right now, it is the postseason, so that's not going to just spur in the moment. But in 2 years here, he still doesn't really have that defined niche role that he had in his first two spots. And he certainly can't be the Brooklyn Bridges. He needs to
Yeah.
be a little bit more of the Phoenix, but a little bit more aggressiveness offensively. In games going into last night's game, and last night he didn't do much of anything either. I mentioned the one highlight reel dunk, and then I guess he looked a little bit better, but he had 12 ball screens, the entire 12 pick and rolls, 13 ball screens in the first 3 games of that series. Meanwhile, they bring in Deuce McBride in the game that we came back late in game three, and he set 8 in the second half of that game alone, a lot just by itself. So not only has he been cold and not what he's supposed to be defensively, but he's also stagnant on offense. Like, dude, if nothing else is working, move around, set some screens, try and be active, and whatever. But look, last note on Bridges here, and then we'll touch on a little bit of the bench guys and whatever, and wrap up with the Knicks, talk some baseball. Like, do you think realistically that say Bridges has another no show, we take care of business tomorrow night, similar story, Carl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, everybody else picks up the slack. Do we have any chance? And I know Philly won last night. Give me a break. They're not winning that series. Boston will take care of them the next game. Probably the same odds the Knicks lose this series to the Hawks as Boston losing to Philly, in my opinion. So, do we have any realistic chance of beating Boston with Michael Bridges as much of a zero as he is now? Can the combination of Jordan Clarkson and Deuce McBride really make up for Bridges and us really go far? I don't think so. I think we need something out of him. He needs to figure it out fast because against an opponent like Boston, our bench pieces can be impactful, but without the guy that we gave up 5 first-round picks for, we're not beating him, I don't think.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he can't be a no-show again because he was. I mean, even you look back at last year's series. You know, going into it, I mean, you can even you. I mean, you can answer too. Did you think the Knicks had a chance at beating Boston last year? Me going in, I was like, no,
Hell
not at all,
no. Hell
not at
no.
all.
We watched some of those games together, and
Yeah, we were like,
it
wow,
was
there's no way they're beating this team. And
yeah.
going into this year after beating them last year, it should give you a little more confidence playing them again. So, Mikal got his confidence back in that series. Those two huge blocks on the road that won them games. So even if it's not offensively, he's got to produce more defensively. He's got to be locking them down. He's got to play physical, use your hands. You know, ball pressure. The shots will fall eventually. Everyone goes through shooting slumps. It is what it is. But physicality is the biggest thing with him for me. I don't care about obviously availability is the best ability, and that's McCall's whole thing that he plays
Oh
every game
gosh,
and
that
shit.
freaking
But it doesn't.
streak. I
Yeah,
think that's what's holding him back.
yeah. It doesn't matter if you're not going to play physical. I'd rather you sit out 10 games a year and play hard and go all at it. I don't care about that shit. Sorry,
So
I don't care.
yeah, it's frustrating. And I heard actually people said when he was, he had stretches like this in the regular season where he wasn't playing as well as he should have and everything. And I heard some radio personalities and other people suggest that they should rest him. Mike Brown should say, "Hey, like I know you have your consecutive games played streak, but here's the thing that happens in the NBA a lot. You get a couple nights of rest, extra rest, you come out with some fire and you play better and you're more active up and down the court."
For
And
sure.
I don't
I agree.
I don't know about that. I really don't know. That's like a hard thing to quantify if it would work or not, but maybe it's what he needs. I know they're not going to do it now, especially because it's
Yeah,
the
he wants his
playoffs, but
games played and stuff, but, like, listen, I mean, in the league today, they have those load management things and everything because there's a lot of back-to-backs, but I don't I love that he goes out there and plays every game, don't get me wrong, it's sick, it's great, I love that he always wants to play, but sometimes, you need a break, you need a day off. I'm cool with that, but if I need more from, you on the court. If I don't care, like, you're just gonna go out there and play every day. If you're gonna be a non-X factor, then you're a non-X factor, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, I do. And the streak for him, I think this is at the conclusion of the regular season. It's 638 consecutive games played. So that's a lot. And I'm trying to I think he's like set. He's not going to get it. I forget who is number 1. Yeah. So 5 NBA players had streaks of more than 700 games led by AC Green's 1192. I mean, I guess
Crazy.
he could, but that would be ridiculous. That would be unbelievable. So yeah, no, we'll see. But I just wanted to throw that at you as far as can I mean, do we really have a chance of like beating Boston without this guy? Those 2 blocks were so memorable, and Knicks don't win that series without those critical plays. Needs something, man. Even if he's not going to be at his best, even if he's got to be Mikal Bridges on Christmas Day against the Spurs 2 years ago, or the Bridges that had a 38-point game in Portland, like fine, just like be average, shoot 45% from the floor, knock down a couple threes. Bring us something here. Don't be a minus net 26. Not much to ask for from him. And Knicks defense overall, we shouted a couple guys out in particular, but just some stats to throw at you guys. They're now 19-0 this year when they hold opponents under 100 points. We talked about the fast point streak already. Uh, 6 steals, 6 blocks, 40 balls, rebounds altogether. And another really big thing that they talked about in the post game, actually, on MSG, that was kind of an underrated part of this was the offensive rebound discrepancy. I mean, the Knicks were crashing the boards like crazy all of last night. And for Atlanta to just get 5 offensive rebounds compared to whatever the Knicks had, I don't have that one off the top, was huge. Not giving them second opportunities, not letting Okongwu get easy, second chance lay-ins and then be able to spray it out. They also shot abysmally from three. I think they put up like 41 attempts, something like that. And they were really bad from downtown. Even Brunson mentioned that in the post game, like, yeah, we held them under 100 again. We did some good things on defense, but there was a lot of points left on the table by the Hawks last night as far as missing shots. But hey, we didn't let them rectify it with offensive rebounds. So that was a big part of last night's W as well. Anything else on the Knicks before we dive into the local baseball teams?
We could go into one more thing here. I was going to talk about a couple guys that, have had pretty good impacts on the series. I'll start off with these two guys. I mean, because these are probably the two guys I want to go. I mean, Mitch has done his thing. Mitch always does his thing, so I won't really get into him much. We know how impactful he is,
Mitch
but
was great, and you know what?
Mhm.
The first few games of this series, going into last night, he only played 59 minutes. I know minutes are a touchy thing with him or whatever, but I'd
He's
like to
been
see
great.
the usage. They finally showed the double big last night. They finally had him
Finally,
and
yeah.
Cat on the floor a little bit together. So
But the two guys I wanted to go into, I mean, going into the series, he wasn't even in the rotation. So I'll start with this guy. I mean,
I know where
Jose
you're going.
Alvarado, GTA
Yeah.
5. I mean, he has been so impactful in this series. You watch him play. I mean, he's arguing with the Hawks. I mean, they're talking shit back and forth. This guy's in the grill, these players. He's all up there using his hands on defense. I mean, he's just such a fun watch. I mean, he has done such a good job in the series. I mean, again, he's a player that's meant for the series because he plays so physical and so tough. Even though he's a tiny guy, he plays so hard and I respect the hell out of him. He's done a great job. He shot it well. He's playing with a bunch of confidence, and it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, last night, 12 points for him. That's a postseason career high. And look, I know that this doesn't directly correlate with his performance last night or whatever, but when he was brought over here, I was so excited. And I don't usually get caught up into this because Anthony Volpe could go uh, to the other side of the country, we'd all be pretty happy with it. I don't get caught up into the local stuff so much, like a guy who's from here, we want him to succeed. He's one of us, whatever. But like you could see the New Yorker in him, born and bred Brooklyn boy. Like he's got that persona, he's got that edge to him. It's in his voice. I was listening to his presser the other earlier today, this morning. Like you like to see he talked about how he looks down at his jerseys, sees a Knicks logo, how special that is to him. And you're right. I mean, going into the postseason, he was on the outside looking in. Landry Shamet was the last guy, presumably, to be as a regular rotation member with this Mike Brown rotation, but he's pretty much taken over Shamet now. Shamet hasn't really been a factor much this series. He's played in very quick spurts, and Alvarado, he got an extended period in the second quarter yesterday, provided a little bit of a spark, and as well as starting off the fourth. So he's getting his minutes, he's getting his stretches. His shot, which has been hot, which has been cold, he actually knocked down a couple threes, I think, last night. So that's a good shout for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'll just throw this last guy in here. I mean, this guy was also out of the rotation, I mean, in the middle of the year. Jordan Clarkson has done excellent in this
Oh,
series.
Clarkson. Yeah.
He's rebounded well. I mean, just he's just a great scorer. I mean, he gives them buckets when they need one, and he's also been a big X factor on the bench. I mean, those two guys have been huge for the Knicks. Considering I really thought Shamet would be in the rotation. I guess Shamet will be back in the rotation for sure if they advance, because if they do play the Celtics shoot a lot of threes, so I think they would like to have another 3-point shooter on the floor for the Knicks because they're gonna have to shoot well. But in this series, they went with Alvarado. I think it's worked, and Clarkson's also done a great job as the second ball handler.
Yeah, Clarkson, both of these last 2 games, man, like yesterday, just watching him, it looks a little bit different than it has in the past for him. He is used to, and the profile going into the season was like, watch out to pass to Jordan Clarkson because you pass it to him,
He's
he's
a
gonna
shot
put it right
sucker,
up.
right?
Like he's being a little bit more deliberate with what he's doing with the basketball. He's starting
For
to look
sure.
for other guys a little bit more. And then when he has a lane, much like Cat, when he has this smaller guy on him or he has a lane, he's cutting hard to the basket and finishing and trying to go up the glass. So that's been great to watch. He was a guy that I was super excited when we acquired and envisioned him to be in a postseason rotation because not too long ago he was a 6 man of the year. So it's a different role for him. He's not being the chucker that he was earlier in the regular season. And perhaps that version of him is what sidelined him for a while there and had him out of the rotation. But now he's making the smart basketball plays, it feels like. So, yeah, for sure. So great win last night. I'm glad that we were just able to come on here, dude, and like speak platitudes about the Knicks because there's so much frustration sometimes with this team because we know what they can be, we know what they're capable of, and a lot of times they really just don't live up to it. But
That's why they're
yesterday they
frustrating.
absolutely did.
Their highs are highs and their lows are lows. So they could beat anybody
Yeah,
sometimes, and then they could lose to anybody sometimes. That's how they play, and it is what it is
for
now.
sure.
Maybe we can get another win.
So game 6 tomorrow night, right? Yeah, it's tomorrow at in back
Yeah,
what
tomorrow at
series are
7,
we
I
in?
think.
7. Okay, that's weird. It's usually been either like a 6 or an 8 start, but I believe
Yeah, it
it's
has
7.
been weird.
So yeah, tomorrow evening, game 6 series shifts back to Atlanta. Knicks will try and close it out. I traded. I should say bet. I'm 20, so I can't legally bet. So I traded. I legally traded $100 on Kalshi for the Knicks to win the series the other night. It probably wasn't a great idea, but I did it to win like 145. So I'm only getting back like 50%. So yeah, I got skin in the game too. I mean, this means a lot. Come on,
That's
Knicks,
good.
close it out tomorrow. All right, let's talk baseball, dude. Tough loss for we'll dabble with the Mets a little bit, but let a dead horse rest. I think they're losing right now as it stands too.
Yeah, they lost
Um,
tonight, 14-2.
okay, yeah, at least the bats came alive for an instant there yesterday. But our Yankees, what a road trip it was. They drop one today, 3-0 to Texas. He had a young kid, Elmer Rodriguez, make his debut, major league debut today. He did okay, got through 4 innings, allowed 2 runs, left some traffic on the bases. But overall, man, I mean, that road trip was unbelievable. I think that we scored 43 runs. Opponent scored 22. We went 7-2, so won 7 out of 9. Team ERA was close to like 2.7 across the board. I mean, the run score, 11 home runs, I believe, as well. So the bats were bopping. Guys were getting on base, passing the baton. We saw that the first 2 games of that Houston series, like they exploded in the middle innings there, 6th inning of game 2 of that series. They put up a 6 spot and the pitching. So, where do you want to even lean into this right now? Because it just looks so good. And quietly, Andrew, very quietly, our 2 biggest nemesises, perhaps in baseball, maybe you could throw the Mets in there too, the Red Sox and Houston, a 5-1 stretch against the cheaters and the Red Sox. Like, I mean, very quietly, ho hum sort of did that. Like, how good does that feel?
I've been very happy with what I've seen. Baseball's another very frustrating sport. You got to be patient in baseball because it's still early in the season. The Yankees had a point this year. We're like 10-9, and listen, that's how baseball is. They, it's
Coming
that's
off the
life.
Rays
That's life
series,
with
that
baseball,
was.
right? So but I've been very thrilled with how they've bounced back. The pitching has been excellent this year. Excellent. I'm going to start with that first because, I mean, the Yankees don't even have Cole or Rodon yet. And I think they're top 3 in ERA. I mean, top 2 in starting ERA right now. I mean, obviously, we could go into the guy himself, Cam Schlittler. I mean, one of my
Oh,
favorite players on the Yankees right now. I mean, The jersey's coming in the mail soon, so, I gotta start with him.
I like to hear it.
He's awesome. He is awesome. I mean, he looks like a Cy Young pitcher this year. Stuff is great. The 3 fastballs, excellent. I mean, he shuts down the Red Sox again, goes 8 innings in that game. I mean, what have you seen from him as well?
Dude, he's been so good. Like, so far this year, he's the lat. Oh, there we go. Uh, I was getting fooled there for a second. He's been unreal. And I'll tell you what. I mean, so much was made of of that start when he went out into Boston. Obviously, he's a Mass kid. He grew up a Red Sox fan. Then we all know about Game 3, the penultimate game of the wild card series against Boston, when he goes in there and he absolutely shoves 11 strikeouts. You mentioned the 3 fastballs, 3 variations of a fastball, the cutter, the sink, and what is it, two-seamer, four-seamer? I can't remember.
I think
That
it's
works so
team.
well for him. And then the secondary stuff, dude, has been great too. He has just been anything you could ask for. He's very I wouldn't even say quietly because he is fostering a lot of attention at this point, but he's becoming a second ace. I mean, he really is. Right in front of our eyes. This guy's an ace, and his backstory is amazing with how light he was a couple years ago. He puts on a lot of weight. He impresses Yankees brass out in spring training last year, but the velo was sitting around 93, 94 miles per hour. And then in the matter of a couple months, he adds on that muscle and he's pumping 98, 99. Now he's consistently hitting triple digits on the radar gun now with all 3 of those fastballs. And going back to that Boston series, went on a little bit of an aside there. His first start, because obviously all 3 games of the wild card were at Yankee Stadium. And it was interesting because everybody thought that he would get the reception of a lot of boos because he's talked some smack and this and that. And apparently, some Bostonians had death threats for him. As sad as that is, imagine over
Yeah,
baseball, April baseball series. You got Sox fans throwing
unbelievable.
death threats at a freaking 20-year-old kid. Give me a freaking break. But he goes out there. They actually give him a very warm reception. Like, they clap for him and everything. That was kind of funny. And then he goes out there and he shuts down their hopes and dreams. Yeah, I know the Red Sox lineup stinks right now, but Yankees won that one 4-1. He went 8 innings, 2 runs, 5 Ks. And then yesterday, dude, I mean, everybody talked about it. Young versus future Hall of Famer, old stud, and Jacob DeGrom versus him. I know all of our eyes were locked into the Knicks last night as New York sports fans, but he went in there and he came up on the better end of a great pitcher's duel. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 8 Ks, and it's just start after start after start for him where it looks like, can it get any better? Every start. And it's not just him, it's Max Fried as well. That every 5th day that they take the ball, you can count on them going into the 7th or 8th inning and, you know, throwing one run or no run innings of baseball. So it's been great, man. The starting pitching has been awesome. We could talk about the shaky bullpen or whatever, but like, how could you not? And free to like, how could you not love what you've seen from them? Could they have performed any better?
No, I mean, this is I mean, Fried's Fried, you know, he's a Cy Young candidate as is when they signed him, and he got his big deal. I mean, he's been sick too. I mean, their 1-2 punch right now is insane, and again, I'm still saying, like, they don't have Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is a Cy Young winner. I know he's coming off Tommy
He
John, and
made
then
his 3rd rehab start today.
yeah, and he'll be back soon. And then another guy who's been great as a Yankee the last 2 years, Carlos Rodon. I mean, he had like a 3.05 ERA last year. I mean, he was another huge piece to the team. And those 2 guys are still not in the rotation, and they're already atop of the AL comfortably right now. So, I mean, it's nice to see that, you know, without those 2 guys that they're performing like this. So, I'm very happy with what I've seen, and I'm so excited because I mean, with how they're playing right now, you can't tell me that they're not the best team in the AL and that I mean, I know New
So
York.
we're literally talking about, well, we could talk about. We got all summer to talk about it or whatever. But what first before make that claim? What are you expecting? Obviously, the last time that Garrett Cole took the mound was last year in spring training. But prior to that, he had probably his best season as a New York Yankee. He won the AL Cy Young Award. He was the best pitcher probably in baseball. His fastball was at an all-time high in terms of velo. Like everything was clicking for Garrett Cole. And then at the most inopportune time, he went down right going into the season. His first Tommy John surgery. Garrett Cole's getting up there in age a little bit. Apparently, the velocity is like 1 or 2 miles per hour down. I think he did touch 95 though, um, since where it was from, obviously the last time he pitched on a major league mound. What are your expectations for when he gets back? And I think coming from me as a Yankee fan or whatever, I don't need vintage Cole. I don't need Cy Young Cole, but I think we'd be pretty damn happy if we could get 75% of the Garrett Cole that last pitched.
I totally agree with you. The Yankees, I mean, you look at their farm system right now. I mean, the guy that pitched today, I mean, their pitching is excellent right now. They know how to develop pitching. We've seen it for years. I mean, the Cam Schlittler emergence, Max Fried being his Cy Young candidate as well. For Cole, yeah, if we get 70, 75% of Garrett Cole, I mean, what is that? I mean, 3.5,
Right. That's
sub
probably
four.
like Rodon stats from last year.
Right. So if I get
Yeah.
that from him as I mean, listen, no one's expecting him to be an ace anymore. I mean, he's probably 37 years old. If we
I
get
think
that
he's
from him,
37.
yeah, if we get that caliber of pitching from him, I mean, I'd be pretty happy with that.
And in a world in which we have that, you're talking about a three-headed ace for this Yankees rotation. You're looking at Garrett Cole, Max Fried, and Cam Schlittler, all versions of an ace, backed up by Carlos Rodon, and name your fifth. I mean,
Will
you
Warren. I mean, I've
Will
loved the way
Warren.
he
I
pitched today
like Will Warren. I really
this year.
do. I think he's got
Yeah.
great stuff. His sinker's been awesome this year. His secondary, he's really started to develop a changeup, particularly to lefties. It's really working. Like he's really coming into the fold. Garrett Cole has always talked so fondly of him and his stuff. But man, I love Ryan Weathers. I don't know about you, but he's pitching from this low slot arm angle this year. It's a little bit different than he has. He's been more over the top the past few years, and he has been mowing guys down. He just hasn't gotten a lot of run support his last few starts, but I think he won his last start. Yankees backed him up a little bit, but dude, Ryan Weathers, I actually poo-pooed on the free agent signing it when they made it, but he's been excellent. He's a hard thrower. The secondary stuff looks solid. He just looks like a Yankee, and I'm kind of leaning towards him for that fifth spot.
Um, I'm gonna disagree with you here. Not
Fair
about
enough,
that.
dude. Will Warren's good, man. I mean,
Not that Weathers has been great, but I'm a big Will Warren fan. If you didn't know already, I mean, I love Will Warren. I love his stuff. I love the way he pitches. I've seen such improvement from him from his first major league start to now. I mean, even last year, I know he had a 4 point. I don't know what it was. I think it was a 4.5, but I saw good stuff with him. I loved his slider. He has great movement on the sinker. I really love his stuff. So, you know, and this year he has like a 2.46 ERA. I've seen drastic improvements for him. The only thing I'll say with him is that once he gets longer into games, if he goes 6, 7 innings, he's a three starter in this league.
I have yeah, I mean, people are that this is becoming a real talking point among, Yankee universe right now is who gets moved to the bullpen when we finally get Whole here. I mean, because we're talking about Carlos Rodon, potentially coming back at some point this next coming homestand. And then I guess he's due for one more rehab start, but the Yankees could just say, "Hey, just come up here. You're ready to pitch at the major league level. We'll just shorten your leash a little bit. You won't get the full lane start that you would." So, I mean, so he could be back as soon as the next homestand, but it's going to be really interesting who they move to the bullpen, either being Warren or Weathers. Yeah, you mentioned Warren. He's been great this year. He's 3-0. First six starts, striking out 37 batters and 31 in the third innings, 2.59 ERA, and he hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in any game so far. And opponents have a 634 OPS. That is freaking good, man, across the board. So guys aren't hitting him. He's going for that was my big issue with Warren last year too. He felt like such a five and fly guy. Felt like by the time guys would get into the third, by the time we get to the third time around the order with guys, they'd figure out his stuff a little bit. He didn't have enough secondary pitches to go to, but I mentioned he's starting to develop that changeup a little bit. You talked about the slider. It's got unbelievable horizontal movement on it. So he's really coming into his own, but you'll probably win this battle, especially because Warren has been in the organization. His coaching staff trusts him, and he's really proven into a proven commodity this year. So he'll probably get the nod for that fifth start. But Weathers has been great. Numbers not quite as good for him with the 3.21 ERA.
It's still
But
very good though. I listen, I gotta give a ton of credit to Weathers too, because when I watched him in spring training, I was like, oh, this guy really he struggles with his command and he's very fastball happy, which he still is very fastball happy. So I mean, but in the last couple starts, I've seen him go to that slider more, go, his secondary pitches. I think he has the changeup too as well that he goes to sometimes. So I've been seeing more of that, and I think he just needed to mix it up more and not stop getting into fastball counts because everyone was sitting fastball on him early in the year. If you don't, do you agree?
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, it's okay. Look, Cam Schlittler's a fastball pitcher too. It's
Yeah,
okay
for
to be a
sure. And
fastball
that's not a
pitcher.
bad thing to have,
Yeah.
but he was getting himself in tough spots because he was, working behind in counts, and then, a lot of guys were sitting on it because he wasn't locating either. So, but he's really fixed that in the last two starts. So I got to give him a ton of credit.
Yeah, no, and a lot of it's actually unintentional. I've talked about the lower arm slot. I heard Meredith Marakovich say this his last start. He's not necessarily doing it on purpose, but he's just getting more extension going towards the mound than he did in the past. And as a result of that, it's a lower arm slot, and that can actually be a lot more deceptive. So it's been good. And out of the bullpen, even with a guy like him who deserves a rotation spot and just about any team in the major leagues. He's a bullpen weapon with that fastball. What do most guys' best pitch out of a bullpen is their heat. So a guy that can touch 100 out there with, decent secondary stuff, we need it. I mean, I'm sorry, we do. The bullpen's okay, but definitely need at least one more piece out there, and then we'll see what happens at the trade
Can I
deadline,
ask
whatever
you one
comes.
question before we move to the batters and hitting?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this. I know it's early in the year, and it's only April, but looking at the rotation right now, do you think that a rotation of, let's say, I mean, I'm going to go fully healthy, the fully healthy five, where you could pick your five, your fifth starter. Do you think that can compete with the best rotation in baseball? And, that's where the Yankees' strengths, and, they move with that. That's their bread and butter. What do you
There's
think?
no doubt that they have right now where it stands, even without Colin Rodon, today, they have the best rotation in the American League. They do. They have the best starters ERA by far. Everybody has been crisp. Everybody deserves a spot in a major league rotation. That's the way it is. Look, it's hard to say all of Major League Baseball because of what's happening out west with the Dodgers because they just have what I mean. They got all this. They got these juggernauts from Japan that are spinning every night. So it's between them and the Dodgers, really, and you choose your weapon there. I think they're both remarkably good rotations, but even today, and we talked about it a million times, pre-Colin Rodon return, they have the best rotation in the American League, undoubtedly. And it's a good problem to have, man, to have this conversation about Weathers versus Warren, who gets moved to the bullpen because the bullpen is an area of need. And I know it's not the easiest thing to convert as a starter to the pen, but whoever goes out there could be weaponized in key spots. So yeah. Dodgers or Yankees for that. I mean, the Dodgers have now Otani and Yamamoto this year have been just as good as like Fried and um, Schlittler. They've been shoving. Watched them a few weeks ago against the Mets. I mean, that's not much of a lineup. We'll talk a little bit about them. But yeah, so pitching's been great. I'll tell you this. I won't delve into the whole landscape of the lineup or whatever, but I heard people this is becoming a little bit of a topic now with Ben Rice and Aaron Judge going back and forth on home runs. So Ben Rice, uh, 2 nights ago or last night, last night. So game 2 of the Texas Rangers series, Ben Rice hits his 10th home run of the season. And then right after him, the next at bat, Aaron Judge goes deep for his 11th and says to Benny in the dugout, I wasn't going to let you have me there. I had to get the lead. There's been a narrative that the Yankees haven't had a Robin to Judge's Batman since Juan Soto left to go play in Queens. Ben Rice is suddenly emerging into that guy. He is that freaking good right now. He's hitting around 316. His OPS is near 900. His plate
Oh,
discipline is
his
off the
OPS is over
charts.
1,000. I think it's
Uh,
at
yeah, yeah,
1,200.
yeah. That's I should have his numbers on me, but he's been unreal. He had the highest. I don't know if it's changed, but as of like a week ago, highest OPS in baseball. Ben Rice, man. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised based off what he did last year, but I don't know if I could have saw these early returns coming.
I am so thrilled with how he's been hitting. It's unbelievable to watch. And like you said, the Juan Soto thing. I mean, how can you not say he's putting up stats like that? I mean, he really is. I mean, no one's lying. And I mean, just look at his stats. He's at the top of the league. I mean, if you look at his hard hit rate and, all those things, those advanced metrics, I mean, it's all red. It's literally all
Yeah,
red. It's
yeah.
unbelievable. I mean, and it's so cool to see. I mean, even when he first came to the league, I mean, that first year he only played 40 games. I saw, I mean, not obviously, I'm not going to say I'm not no genius. I didn't see this, but, the way he hit the ball, I like the way how hard he hit it. His swing, he had a nice swing. And then last year he put a really good year together. And then now it's like, wow, this guy put it all together and this is what he is. So, I mean, having him, and I love him batting in front of Judge. I think they need to continue to do that. I think it's better for him and it's better for Judge. So I hope they keep doing that. But that 1-2 punch, man, it's one of the best in the league now.
97th percentile in expected slug, 97th percentile in average exit velocity, 97th percentile in barrel
Wow.
percentage, and 99% in hard hit rate. I mean, the guy's tearing the cover off the baseball. Like
Yeah.
that's like Stanton when he's clicking. I mean, that's really
And
what it
and
feels
yeah,
like.
like
Yeah.
listen, like Stanton's I mean, even Stanton last year the way he was hitting, I mean, he was hitting the best as a Yankee. I mean, and then I mean, I know he's hurt right now, but like I'll ask another question. Like, I mean, the Yankees lineup the past 2 years has been a lot better than, the last couple years before that. I mean, it was very top heavy. I mean, I feel like the Yankees lineup the past 2 years has been a little more, balanced out. And now that we're seeing this Ben Rice emergence getting even better and better, I mean, what do you think of the lineup now? I mean, I'll ask you that.
Yeah, no, I that's why I led off when we talked about the lineup, just going like this hasn't been and the Yankees had a really good lineup last year. They scored the most runs in the American League. They hit the most home runs in baseball by over 30 more than any other team. So the Yankees mashed last year. They mashed their way to 94 wins and almost a division title, but just fell short. And they're going to do it again this year. We knew that going into this season, but Rice is starting to emerge into that next guy behind Judge, a MVP type
He's
player.
merging into MVP talks. I mean, I have to say it
MVP
right
talk,
now.
or
Yeah.
it's April 29th.
I
So
know it's April, but like just the
yeah,
way he's hitting and his swagger at the plate, you can't say he's not. I mean, listen, I know it's early, but you can't say he's not. Him, Jordan, Judge. I mean, these guys have been terrific this year.
and it's funny because there was a lot of documentation. Real Yankee fans understand. They saw all the documentation out there on Ben Rice last season. Ben Rice was productive for the Yankees last year. There's no doubt. He didn't play quite every day because there was a surplus of everyday players, but he played and he produced, but not to the level of what he should have been based on the advanced metrics, based on the barrel percentage, the hard hit rate, the average exit velocity, all that stuff that I just rattled off was at or near the top of hitters in baseball. But the batting average, OPS, and slug weren't matching up with that, although he did have great slug last year.
I
So,
think his OPS was around 820, which is very good. Very good OPS. But the Yankees, and I think you and me yourself, I mean, we saw more than that. I mean,
We
clearly, the way
look
he
at,
was hitting
you
it,
know, you hear about those things, you look at those things, you go, it's just a matter of time. And then this
right,
year,
for sure.
finally, all those metrics are catching up to him, and it's been great to watch. He's a great kid. Um, and I want to keep it. I want to keep him. I want him to keep this going because
I
it's
would
just
I
great.
mean, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
and, another thing I'll throw in there is that, you know, I don't know if you can agree or disagree, but I've seen a little bit of a difference. My thoughts of Boone and the front office and how they've handled things the past couple years, but I've seen some different things this year. The way we'll get into that a little more in a second, but I mean, I know Boone said he was going to play against lefties this year, but I mean, he's raking against lefties now. I mean, he's really hitting lefties hard. I mean, even today, I was listening on the radio on the way home from school, and I mean, they said he smoked the ball, on the left side of the infield, right through the middle. I don't remember where
Oh,
it
he
was.
had 3 hits today. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, he's been raking off lefties too. It's great
Yeah, yeah, he did that today. I think all 3 of the balls he smoked right through the right side. And yeah, that's kind of a similar thing to Belly, like the ability to hit both lefties and righties the same. And Rice, that's the thing too. Like the Yankees have, they have Paul Goldschmidt, who obviously specializes in hitting against lefties, but it's getting to the point now where with Ben Rice and how valuable of a baseball player that he is, that however you get Goldie his ABs and his reps should not come at the expense of Ben Rice. And I know that's the direct positional thing to do, but Rice is just too good. He should be in the lineup every day. And every day that he's not, I got a problem with Booney a little bit. I do. I know, even if it's once every 2 weeks, this guy needs to be in the lineup every single day. That's just the way I see it. Maybe I'm a
fair
little
point
too old school
for
on that,
sure.
but yeah. All right. We're getting near an hour here. I want to keep the train rolling a little bit. I'll just hit you with 2 young guys. I want to know what your thoughts on this Rodriguez kid is. Elmer Rodriguez, he came up today. His numbers at AAA were excellent. Came in with a 1.27 ERA in 4 starts. Tonight was okay. He had a command. I watched the whole game. I know you said you were listening on the radio. I watched from start to finish. Um, he was decent. He struggled with his command a little bit early in the game, either in like the third or the fourth inning. He got out of a bases loaded jam. There was 2 outs. He induced a fly ball off the bat of Nimmo to center field. So he escaped into and out of some jams. Did rack up a couple of Ks. I think the final line was the 4 innings, the 2 earned runs, 4 hits. But dude, this guy is known for pitch ability. Very rare combination of being able to command the zone, which he struggled with today, probably butterflies, first major league start,
For sure.
and light up the radar gun. He could hit 94, 95 with his sinker and his four seamer. So, like, another staple down there, another young buck that to be excited about.
For sure. I mean, like I said, the Yankees farm system. I mean, these pitching prospects that they've had the past couple years. I mean, they look nice. I mean, when you look at Elmer Rodriguez, I mean, he's got a great sweeper. When I was watching his clips, I mean, he has a really nice sinker. He can locate. I know he didn't today, but his command is usually better than it was today. I know it's the first start, but listen, I don't hate how he pitched today. I mean, listen, I know he walked a couple guys. I think he had 4 walks, 3 Ks,
Walks,
but
yeah.
I really loved one of his 2 strikeouts. I mean, what I saw from him, he dotted the zone in a 3-2 count, the bottom of the zone with a sinker. They challenged it. I saw that part. It didn't get overturned. Yankees, I mean, it was a strikeout.
That was a
And then he had
big
a
out
really
right there.
yeah,
Because
and then he
yeah,
had a
because
really
the runner
nice
went too. Yeah.
yeah, and then he had a really nice sweeper to strike someone out. I forgot who it was because I didn't really catch the game, but um yeah, I mean, listen, it wasn't great, but I mean, again, first game jitters. It is what it is, but he's gonna get 2 more starts until Rodon's ready. So I'm really excited to see how he looks. He's gonna be a big part of this future because I mean, listen, you can't keep everybody, and you got to decide by the deadline. What guys you want to keep, what guys you want to let go. Because again, we're going for a World Series. We're gonna have to fix positions here. The bullpen's gonna have to get fixed. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Maybe a catcher, I mean, maybe a third baseman. You never know. So, I mean, you got to decide which arms you want to keep. There's a couple down there. So, yeah.
Right.
I
Yeah, yeah,
stand.
yeah. I think Jack Curry said out of like his 80 pitches, only 42 were strikes. So, and then
Yeah.
meanwhile on the other side, you had Evaldi who just dices up the Yankees every
Oh,
time he sees them.
every time, man.
Every time, man. I think he made his like 28th career start against the Yankees today, and he was just money. And you can
Yeah.
always count on that. He always shows up big against his former team. And yeah, Elmer, we'll see. Like you said, maybe a trade chip. He's valued across baseball. He was the 53rd ranked prospect on Baseball America. So, last young guy I want to talk to you about. We had a lot of discourse already on this program about Jason Dominguez and what they do with him at the start of the season. I'm just going to straight up ask you, do you think he's here to stay, or is this just like for the duration of the Stanton IL stint? He was playing great in the minor leagues, 308 batting average.
I'm a big Jason Dominguez guy. I love him. I think he's a great ball player, has a ton of potential. Listen, I don't even think he was that bad last year. Listen, he struggles defensively a little, I know. He's bad in left field. He's not a great defender, but I don't know. He has so much potential. And I just don't think you can give up on it yet. It sucks that he got hurt today. I saw he got hit in the elbow. But I'd keep him up. I mean, they DFA'd Grichuk today, so
They
that was
did.
kind of nice to see. I'd let him play, considering, I know Grisham's gotten really unlucky this year, and I don't wanna say he's been bad, but he has been pretty bad because his stats are down, but, I mean, when you look at his metrics, it's all red again. So I think he'll eventually come around, but at some point, you're gonna need to start seeing results, and I think Dominguez, if he's healthy still, he should get a shot to play. I mean, he's improved the right-hand swing. That was the biggest problem last year. He wasn't really playable against left-handed starters. But I mean, he batted 280 against right-handed starters. So I liked what I saw from him sometimes last year. I know it wasn't really always consistent, but listen, he's a great ball player.
Yeah, he is. Dude, I still have not given up on Dominguez. I am very high on him, but I just don't see the point. And the Yankees organization's plan was Jason Dominguez is getting 500 at bats this year. That has to happen. If Jason Dominguez is going to be here, he can't be what he was with the Yankees the last month plus of the season, being the fourth outfielder, being a pinch runner. Like they have to trade somebody or do something. But we'll
I
see.
agree. Mhm.
We'll see down the road. We still got a lot of time to talk about that. And for now, he'll DH. For now, with Stanton being on the IL, everybody talks about the abysmal defense. Well, he could DH, so he doesn't have to be out there in the outfield. I know he got his first outfield start tonight, but if you have to avoid his defense, you can when Stanton's hurt. So, all right, last quick thing. We won't go too much into it. The Mets suck. They are the worst team that money can buy. A $370 million disgrace. It gets worse just about every day. They were on a 12-game losing streak. It's the longest losing streak in April in Mets history. I mean, there's so many different sad numbers and statistics that you could look at that encapsulate what a bad start it's been for the New York Mets. And yet Carlos Mendoza still has a job. Why do you think that is? And if you were Steve Cohen, how long ago would he have been out of here? Unless you're like one of those Mendy defenders.
I'm not a Mandy defender. I'll state that right away. So listen, it's really frustrating. Obviously we're Yankee fans. I don't want to just like sit here and obviously I bash the Mets all the time. It is
Shit
what it
on the
is. But
Mets parade. Yeah.
I'm going to talk like a real baseball fan here. You know, Going into the season, what is their payroll? I think it's the second highest, right? Am I right there?
It was the second highest,
Well,
370 million.
well, listen, the guys they replaced, I'll start with this move first. Semien for Brandon Nimmo. Marcus Semien hasn't been a good hitter in two seasons in the last 2 year in the last two baseball seasons. So right when I saw that trade, I was like, what are they doing? Why? And they talked about this run prevention stuff, and that really hasn't even worked out either. I mean, am I wrong there? What do you think with that? I mean, that was their biggest plan going into the
No,
offseason, and that
look,
really hasn't. Oh,
no, yeah, dude, that was the buzzword. That was the word that David Stern stood up in front of the podium and he preached to the world was Run prevention. We are going to execute run prevention at a high level because we're going to fix the up the middle defense with Luis Robert Jr. and Simeon and Lindor. And then all these pitchers, Freddie Peralta, whatever. It was all about preventing runs. Well, you also have to remember, while the run prevention hasn't worked, you also have to remember in order to win baseball games, you must also score runs, something that they've been brutal at this year as well. And dude, like we could have ran a whole podcast. There's been so many issues with this Mets team right now, but like the onus falls on David Stearns. He is the one who
Yeah.
built this $370 million disaster. So while I think that Carlos Mendoza should be fired because he literally has no answers. He literally stood in front of the media the other day after they got swept away by the should-be worst team in baseball, Colorado Rockies, but oh no, it's a Mets. He literally stood in front of the media and said, I've never seen anything like this before. Can you at least get a guy in there that has some like viable answers and can act like I don't know, a manager to some degree? Like you got to have a scapegoat. You got to have somebody to light a fire under you. He should be fired. But yet at the same time, I don't believe it's his fault. He is not at blame for this. It is David Stearns. He built this mess and nothing's working, including his little run prevention tactics. So
I said it in the offseason. I mean, we can go back to whatever it was. I remember me, you, and Nadler had a podcast about the Mets offseason. I remember myself saying I didn't understand their offseason. I didn't really like listen, they got good players, but I didn't really love their offseason the way it went. So I mean, listen, obviously, as a fan, you have to be happy, you have to be confident in your team going to the season. I totally understand that. But I mean, I'll get into one thing here. I mean, they're starting pitching. I mean, listen, Noah McLean, great pitcher. I mean, he's top 10 in the league already with him and Schlittler. Awesome guys, awesome pitchers. But then you get to the back of, I mean, Kodai Senga, David Peterson,
Sanga's
Sean
got to get
Manaea.
cut already.
Those guys
Sanga's
are
got to get cut.
unplayable. Why are they still pitching in games? I mean, how is Mendoza and Stearns still letting these guys pitch? I mean, DFA them, cut them, get them out. I mean, they cannot still be pitching for your team when they're just blowing up games. I mean, David Peterson gave up, I think, 7 runs tonight. And he wasn't in the rotation for the last 2 starts, but then somehow they go back to him tonight. I mean, it
Right.
makes no sense. And that's just the pitching. We haven't even got to the lineup yet. I mean, their
You
lineup is
mentioned
probably
Simeon.
bottom 2 in baseball right now.
Simeon's been brutal. Like you said, the production has dipped the past couple of years. Yet
He
David
can't hit a
Stearns has
beach
expected to
ball.
bounce
He
back.
couldn't hit a beach ball.
And look at the guy that they traded away. Brandon Nimmo's lighting it up in Texas. He's been great. So
It's yeah. And then listen, I mean, I know Soto got hurt, that was tough for them. And now Lindor goes down too, so it's not like they can't even put those two together. And then, Robert's hurt now, and then Polanco goes down. It's just a mess. It's really turned into a mess. And then they got some of these young guys playing, and then Tyrone Taylor's batting 6th tonight, and then Brett Beatty sucks. I mean, he's still in the lineup every night. Vientos. I mean, it's really turned into a big mess.
yeah, you pretty much knocked it all out there. The only guy that supports Tyrone Taylor's presence in the lineup is a friend of the program, co-host Drew Nather, who has just
I
a
don't know how he supports him
very
batting 6th in the
weird
lineup.
love
I mean,
affair obsession with him. I don't really understand it, but he stinks. He's like Aaron Hicks 2.0. I mean, I guess he plays
I
better
just
defense.
can't defend Mendoza here. I mean, I don't understand how he's putting these lineups together. And you're like, yeah, this guy's the coach of the New York Mets. He needs to continue to coach 162 games this year.
I don't even, but can you blame him for the lineups? Those are the cards that he was
I
dealt.
mean, listen. I
Like
can
that
blame him for
was
the lineups.
he's
Obviously,
trying. He's
yeah,
trying. He's trying to plug and play. He's trying to get MJ Melendez some at bats, leading off
that's
for
so
them.
sad, bro.
Yeah.
He's trying to get
Yeah, he
MJ.
was a dude when they got swept by Chicago on that that 6-game trip that they went out and got swept
I
away
know
in
he
both
did
of those
play well, but
series.
it's just like so
He was
sad.
like their best hitter, so he's like, "Fuck it, let me keep playing him." Uh,
I blame him for some of the lineups, but listen, he's not the one out there hitting. He's not the one hitting with runners in scoring position. He's not the one that's, you know, pitching on the mound. I mean, like he can't obviously do that, but like from his point of view, I mean, even early in the year, like when it wasn't so bad, I mean, he was putting Richard Lovelady in some games. Like, why?
Richard
Like
Love.
why? Him and the
Uh,
other Garcia guy. What was his name? I forgot. Him and Luis
oh,
Garcia. Yeah, he was throwing those guys in games where, like, I mean, it's a 1-run, 2-run game. I mean, why? Why is he
Right.
doing that?
Yeah. No, it's bad, and, you would think after yesterday's 8-0 win, oh, I saw a little line out there. Are the Mets really this bad, or are they just going through a really rough stretch at the
Nah,
beginning of
I
the
mean,
season? I
how much of
mean,
a rough stretch can this be, though? I mean, like,
you get swept by the look, you get swept by the Dodgers and the Cubs, like, all right, we got out we played bad baseball, we played some good teams, this, that. And that was when the 12-game losing streak the 12-game losing streak reached its pinnacle after those 2 series and the first game of the Twin series. So you can chalk that up to really bad baseball, whatever. But then after you take 2 out of 3 from Minnesota, you get swept by the freaking Rockies. The Rockies. So, like, and then tonight 14-2, they fall to 10-20 on the year. That's a half game behind the Phillies, who were rained out tonight, so they stay at 10-19. And it's official. The Mets are the worst team in baseball, and they are really looking the part. Last quick hitter for
yes.
you. So I said before we hopped on here, based off the fact that 12-game losing streak, swept by the Rockies, this, that, there's already been, and they've had off days in between this. So, like, great times to fire somebody, and they haven't done it already. So I think they're riding it out with Mendy. Give me if you think he'll get fired at some point, just I know we don't have their schedule in front of us or anything, or if you could pull that up really quick and make a
Yeah, let me
guess.
do that.
When do you think Carlos Mendoza gets the axe?
Let me pull it up. Let's see. They got the Angels next. I mean, they have the Angels and the Rockies again.
Oh gosh, this should be
So
another
I'll
small
say this
stretch.
now. If you get swept by the Rockies again, I mean, he should be fired tonight. After a
Yeah.
14-2 loss to the Nationals, I would fire him tonight. But if
Yeah.
they lose another series to the Rockies, legitimately, you cannot have this guy coaching your baseball team anymore. I'm sorry, you can't.
Could you imagine that I mean, you know how riled up we are as baseball fans. Could you imagine we were rooting for this garbage? I
I
mean,
I mean, I would legitimately stop watching. I mean, I would give up.
yeah.
And
I
I
would
know, like, it's hard for me to give up on a team. This
It's
is unbelievable.
unwatchable.
It's on what I don't know how they watch it. I mean, I don't feel bad at all. Let me not say that. I don't
Right.
feel bad at all, but it's just crazy that, you know,
Yeah.
it's this bad. And then, one thing else we gotta get into, I mean, Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. I mean, I'll let you start there. I mean,
Yeah, well, look, David
unbelievable.
Stearns and part of his master run prevention plan was bringing in 2 guys who had dreadful seasons for the Yankees last year. I know that
Another
Devin
thing, like,
Williams,
why would he fetch those guys?
why would he fetch them? And then he signed instead of, he greatly mishandles and miscommunicates the whole situation with Edwin Diaz. He goes out to LA, and I know he's on the shelf now for a while. It's not looking good for him. And his master plan is to pay $50+ million a year to Devin Williams.
He
I'll
watched
just
Devin Williams pitch in New York last year. He's like, "Yeah, I want that guy. He
I got
can.
a question
He
for
might
you.
be able to pitch at City Field now."
I got a question for you. Were you were you uneasy at all when you got the notification or you read the New York Post article or whatever it was that Devin Williams was going to the Mets
I
for
was not
3 years,
shocked one bit.
54 million? You
I
could
was
you could
shocked.
ask any Yankee fan in the world. I don't think any of them even slapped their damn knee. I mean, please. Oh gosh.
As they say, some people just can't pitch in New York or are not made for New York. He's clearly just not made for New York, and that's what it is. I mean, listen, even down the stretch last year, Devin really started to pitch well for the Yankees. So I thought maybe, maybe he's probably going to leave this team and he'll probably light it up somewhere, maybe in Miami, or a small market team again. But
Right.
he goes to New York again. And Mets fans are like, oh, we saw him pitch one in spring training. Listen, I know you try and get hyped up by your free agent signings, but he's imploded here. And then
I just
Luke
knew it.
Weaver, I won't even get. I mean, bro, did they watch Luke Weaver pitch in the playoffs last year? I
Yeah,
mean,
totally.
he had a 99 ERA. I'm
Yeah,
not even joking.
yeah. No,
He
he's bad.
quite literally
But
lost games to the Yankees. He blew games for them.
I'm kind of on the other. I could understand the week because of the
I
2024
thought
World
Weaver was going to be a
Series
starter.
reemergence.
I legitimately thought he had interest in being a starter. I thought maybe some team would sign him to be a starter again. after watching him pitch in the
Right, he
postseason.
did start his career as a starter, that's
Yeah,
right,
so
so
that's what I thought he
yeah.
wanted to do, and then I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, listen, I liked Weaver. He was a good guy, but I mean, after last offseason, I mean, last postseason, wow.
Yeah, no, it was a really rough year for him. He went down like in the middle of the summer in June, whatever. He hit the IL. He came back. He was never the same. Never the same. I was at his first game against the Orioles when he came back from the IL. He served up a couple runs, lost us the game, and he was bad down the stretch and going into the postseason. You mentioned Williams. He turned it around the last month in the regular season, and he had a decent postseason, but then he gave up the hit to Luke's that ended our season. So like, I didn't understand, especially doubling down on both of them. I think most Met fans would have been fine if they signed Williams and got Diaz on top of it. But
Yeah,
considering the
I
way
think
that
that was the
Williams,
original plan, but just didn't end up
right,
going out that way. But
right,
let me ask
so
you one more thing before we head out here. Um, so now, the Mets, they're 10-21. Soto's World Series team, they've asked him a couple questions about when he was a national that um his team didn't have a good start to the year. I think they were like 9-21. I don't remember the actual record that year the Nationals won the World Series. I mean, what can Soto do to rebuild the locker room, get these guys going again? What do you think? I mean, it could be a lost cause. I mean, the season could be over. I mean, it's still April though. I mean, you can't give up yet as a player, obviously. Get paid to do these things. So, I mean, what do you think? How can you get the locker room back? How can you get everyone going again?
the thing with Juan Soto, the big issue is that while he is a great talent and he got off to a slow start with the Mets last year, but he stole 42 bases, he hit 280, he hit almost 40 home runs. He was great. Juan Soto's coming back from this injury now. Wherever the Mets finish, which will probably be last place, he'll put together another fabulous season. The stat line will look very good. And he will, I don't know how this whole contract ages out, but for the next 5 to 10 years, I can fully count on Juan Soto being a producer. But did you see that when they were out on the West Coast and he was on the IL with that calf injury, when the reporters asked him, "Have you had any
Oh
communication?
yeah.
Have you tried to get these guys going or reach out to them at all?" And this guy's got the nerve to fucking say, "Well, no, I haven't been traveling with the team, so I haven't spoken to
Yeah, that
anybody."
that wasn't a good look
Not a
at all.
text, not a phone call, not any line of communication. That's not what that's Juan Soto. He doesn't care about his teammates. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean or what. He's not a bad guy by any means, but
I
he's
didn't
not a
understand
leader.
that either. I mean, that didn't
He's
make
not a
any
leader.
sense to
He's
me.
a lead by example guy, but he is not going to be the guy to galvanize this group to say, let's go. If there's anybody that's going to do that, it's Lindor, I guess, but it's certainly not Soto. Soto's just going to go out there and produce. And if nobody else produces behind him, guess what? He's still gonna show up and produce. That's all he does.
That's a
So,
fair analysis, yeah. So
yeah.
maybe it's Lindor that's gotta get them going again when he comes back or, when he's in the locker room. I mean, you just can't let a season end in April, I'm sorry. I mean, you just got it. I mean,
Seasoning ending in
no.
April is a very depressing thought, but they're well on
Yeah.
their way, dude. I mean, you bury yourself this much of a hole.
You can only
Look,
blame yourselves though, right?
not even it's I heard Evan Roberts on the fan say this earlier today. He's less or 2 days ago when they got swept by the Rockies. So going into Monday. 9.5 games back of Atlanta, I think. Now maybe it's 10.5, let's say. You're like 6 or 7 games out of a wild card spot. That's recoverable in April. I mean, you could make up those games if you play good baseball or whatever, but it's the way that this team is playing right now that makes you say they're not going to do it because across the board, they're just not very good at anything. So that's where they're at. But glad we were able to but we had so much great positivity. We had to vent on somebody. So we just vent on the losers on the other side of town. It feels good. Gotta
Well,
love
great
this.
episode. Of
Yeah, good job, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
course.
All right, everybody, still here with us. Thanks for watching this marathon. Great talking to you. We'll talk to you soon. Adios, everybody.